Hey there, my name's Joel and welcome back to the Traveler Toolkit. I am standing here on our rural property that we hope to, in the future, turn into our very own camping oasis, maybe build some permanent structures. But today, we're starting to try out some temporary structures in places that we think would be great campsite locations. So I started scouring the internet looking for great temporary structures or maybe tents that we could put up and leave up for an entire season. And I ran across canvas bell tents. They're really cool looking. They look like they're out of the Civil War era. They're not exactly portable. They're a little heavier. They're a little bigger. They do involve poles and ropes and things that a lot of modern tents have gone away from, but they're really, really nostalgic and romantic. So I reached out to the company White Duck and said, hey, would you mind sending us one of your bell tents so we could unpack it, look at it together, and in general get a feel for what these canvas bell tents are like? And thankfully they said yes. They sent us the 13-foot Avalon bell tent. So I believe that's 13-foot circle, 13-foot diameter of a circle. We're gonna put it together in this video, see how easy it is to assemble, see what the quality is like. And if you're interested in a bell tent, I'll leave links in the description down below so you can check it out for yourself when this video is over. So let's not waste any more time. Let's start unpacking, reading instructions, and getting this tent together. See if one guy can do it all by himself. All right, so to start, I'll point out that we have two bags here. This is the tent bag, and it is heavy. I would say this is 50 plus, maybe 60 plus pounds. And we have this smaller bag that contains all of our poles for the Avalon 13-foot bell tent. Yes, you're gonna have to put up poles and ropes. I believe they include a mallet. I saw that on the box. So just realize this is not something you're gonna throw in the back of a Honda Civic and go down the road with. So I have not opened any of this. I'm gonna take you through that process, see how easy it is, and see if we can manage this with one person. Hopefully we can, because there's nobody else here. Gonna go ahead and open up the tent. Aha, and inside we have our instructions. We have a toolkit. Let's take a look at the toolkit. It's got these little clips on it here. Looks like it rolls out. Oh, yeah. See if I can show this to you without dumping it on the ground. So we've got stakes on this side. You can kind of see all the stakes. And on this side, we have more stakes and our rubber mallet in there. So it's kind of a rolled out section, and you could hang it by this handle here. And that's a pretty nice organized way to do it so that you have something better than a big bag to just throw all your stakes in. So this is gonna be important. We're gonna set the bags aside. Now, if you know me, you know I don't like instructions, so I'm literally gonna try to look as little at these instructions as possible. It seems pretty intuitive, but when we get into the poles, I think it'll be important. Unwrap this here. We just have two clips, and this plastic is just to protect the tent initially. We'll get rid of the straps and the plastic. And then I would guess we need to just start rolling out the tent. Seems obvious which side is the bottom, so that's good. Boy, I can already tell you this feels large. Hope we can fit it all on screen. And it looks like I actually did that right. This is the front, so let me grab you and show you a little closer. This is what it looks like all rolled out on the ground. I believe that is the main zipper there. You have windows all the way around the edge, and you'll see the circular shape. We just want to make sure we're fully out here. Then we can go ahead and get the poles on the inside. And for those of you that worry too much, I did read the instructions, and it says to go ahead and loosely stake down the tent with these stakes and this hammer. You'll see these straps right here are what we are going to attach these large stakes to kind of hold them in place. So that'll be nice just to keep the tent from going anywhere as we put it up with the poles. All right, that's a good start. All right, now it says we have to find the top pole, or should I say the middle pole, which is taller than all the rest of the poles and has a D-ring on it. That looks like a D-ring to me. So you'll just see the poles have these chains in between. We're just connecting them like that. So let's go in and see if we can assemble this. Gotta find my point. There's my point. It looks like I can do this without being all the way in. There we go. Now I can begin to enter the tent. Risky business. I did it. Now it's just loose, but it's up there. Let me show you how I got it in there. Boy, I am out of breath, but you can see we got the center pole in there. If I take you inside to show you, you'll see there's a little ring on the ground. Tells you where the center is. And you just place that up in the center. Seems pretty obvious, but not as easy as I thought it would be, but we got it. Okay, next it says we have to set up the door frame. So there is the point on the peak of the door frame, and there is the grommet that we are going to insert that into. It's going to give shape to the front door of this tent. All right, now that the legs are inside, this should be easier. Ta-da! Don't worry, I'm going to show you. So far, this all makes sense. So we have the point up here, and then there are spots for the feet on both sides. They're kind of like little wedges. On to the next step. But now all we have to do is attach these guy lines to give the tent its shape. They're all the way around, just like this. And it's gonna give the tent that nice bell shape that it's named for. So there's a lot of them. Let's get out our hammer and start doing this. And this is just a closer look at those guy lines. It's got kind of a bungee up near the tent, so there's some give. They're adjustable. They have this little guy right here in the middle to help you adjust, and then a loop on the end. So we'll attach these to the ground and it'll start to pull the tent out nicely. And because we're running low on the big stakes, I think they want you to use these smaller stakes for the guy lines. So couldn't find that specifically in the instructions, but we're gonna do it anyway. All right, only like 1 million more to go. And after putting half a dozen of these in, I can definitely say you wanna put them in at a uniform distance from the tent. Make sure it's long enough that you can then come back and adjust these lines as you need to be. Give yourself some slack on the bottom so you can still pull out tension. Okay, so I believe we have everything connected. The only thing that I've done wrong is I'm on a bit of a hill, so you can kind of see my wall drooping a little bit over here. It's really nice and tall on the others, but that's just because I'm not on a perfectly flat piece of ground here. But we've got all our guy wires down and tensioned. And I will say, it's really important to go back and adjust these. So this is how you adjust them. You simply pull this out, and if you tilt it like this, you can take it back. You see if you get that straight, you can pull. And then when you're done, you let go, and that turn holds it tight. And I also had to adjust where a few of these stakes were. Wanted to make sure these were being pulled tight in the corners to get that tight, uniform look around the edges. You got to make sure and go back to readjust these if necessary once you get it all together. And now that we're all set up, I want to go ahead and tell you about today's video sponsor, eTrailer. That's right, today's video is sponsored by eTrailer, but rather than just telling you about all the great camping, RVing, and trailer and truck parts and products they have on the website, I thought I'd show you one of my favorites. It's this power-built 20-ton bottle jack. Now, it's something that's small enough I can pack away in my truck. And in fact, if I'm going on an RVing, camping, or a road trip in my truck, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I have this bottle jack with me because it just fits into the back of the truck. I've got an emergency pack that I put together just in case. This is so much better than the factory jack that comes with the car. If you have a flat tire, a problem underneath one of your vehicles, underneath the trailer, bottle jacks are some of the most useful types of jacks. They're strong and they're reliable, and you can get this one at eTrailer. So if you're getting ready to hit the road, go on an RV or a camping trip, check out this Powerbuilt bottle jack from eTrailer. I'll leave a link to eTrailer and this jack in the description below. You can check them out and support them as our video sponsor. All right, so stepping back to take a look at this front entrance, you can see that you do have a decent amount of headroom there to get in and get out. There is an outer door. Right now we have that folded up in the corners. You'll see there's just one tie back in the middle right there. You can tie back this door, but you can also let it flap down and then zip it all the way around so you get a nice sealed look. But we have kind of the bug shield just hanging down there. It's important that you get this line right in the front, nice and tight all the way down. And you'll see we do have some room to adjust that if we need to, just to make sure this entrance is pulled tight and not drooping. So as we come in here, you'll see that we have just a ton of windows along the bottom. This is what makes it really cool, is all the windows are down low. So you can kind of lay down at night and look out. And they all have tie-ups on the windows. I've just got them unzipped and kind of laying down, but they all have tie-ups if you wanted to go down around the bottom. Then of course you could zip those up. There are several pockets hanging off the walls at various points. One there, one there, one over here, and then it looks like 4 right there. And then that's the interior of the hot stove area if you wanted to do that. I guess that would make your stove like right here. I kind of wish that was in the back. It would make more sense to be away from the door, but then again, if you're bringing wood in from the outside, maybe that does make sense. The pole in the middle, because I am a little bit on a slope here, I had to adjust my center pole. So don't be afraid to do that. It's difficult to do, but not impossible to do. You see, I'm just off the footprint just a little bit. And then at the top here, you will see vents for any kind of smoke or humidity that gets caught in here. It allows it to escape out the top. And then like we said, during installation, we have our D-ring there. If you want to hang a camp light in there, that would be great. Really good place to do that. But there's lots of room. Let me go ahead and lay down to see how much room we actually do have inside here. Yeah, I mean, I'm 6 foot tall and I can go from the center pole all the way out here. Now it's tight. I'm all the way here. So I don't think you can expect to sleep people from center pole out to the window. But if you go diagonally, that's not bad. You could probably fit 4 or 5 adults around this circle. If they're sleeping single, if they're doubled up, maybe like 6, like 3 couples, maybe even 4 couples, depending on the way it's oriented. But it's really cool because when you get low, you actually feel more airflow because the windows are down low. And this flooring material seems to be really heavy duty. I'm not sure what it is. I saw that it's some sort of proprietary moisture lock floor. So that doesn't worry me at all. It doesn't feel cheap, feels really heavy duty. But yeah, this is one of the only tents I've ever been in where you feel more airflow the lower you get down, like where you would sleep. And that makes a lot of sense. All right, well, time for some honesty. What do I think about the White Duck Avalon 13-foot bell tent? Well, I'll say that for the setup process, it is strenuous. Just with one person, it's gonna take you a while. It's gonna take some sweat and some know-how. Once you get that center pole up, it's really not that bad. It's just time consuming because you're putting somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 stakes in the ground. So if you're like me and you're pounding those into really hard, dry ground, it's going to be more difficult. But if you're going to leave this up for several days, I'm gonna say for me, 3 days is the cutoff. If I don't have more than 3 days, I wouldn't bother putting this up. Then it could be worth it if you have 3, 4, 5 days planned because it's really spacious and really large inside. And that really brings me to the positives. I think The positives are, this is a tent I can stand up in. I mean, I'm not just barely fitting. I can put my arm all the way up in the air and still not touch the top of this tent. You can walk all the way around and feel like you've got room to change, to chat. You can put a small table and chairs in here, play cards. If you've got inclement weather outside, this would be a great place to hang out, and it's going to sleep multiple people. Or you could just go for a couple's retreat and set it up with like your stove in the corner, table and chairs over there, and a blow-up mattress over here. I think we're actually going to use this seasonally. I'd love to set it up in a scenario where I can keep the tent up, almost use it like a yurt. And then when I'm not using it, cover it up with some kind of tarp or something else that's sacrificial, that's going to take the weather and the sun, because I have read on these, if you leave them out all the time exposed to the elements, it's going to shorten the lifespan of the tent. The only real question I have for this tent is durability and waterproofness. Now, the packaging says it's water repellent and that this is special military grade duck material, so I think it's been treated. It's not just regular canvas, but over time, how is this going to hold up to water, rain, things like that? I think it's going to be pretty decent in the beginning, but when we get years down the road, that's going to be the question, because I think that canvas is just a material that you have to be a little more careful with than synthetics, because it's not inherently waterproof and it's just water resistant. So that's pretty much it for the White Duck Avalon Bell tent. If you are interested in this and want to check it out for yourself, I'll leave links in the description below. I've really enjoyed getting to know this category of tent because it's a lot different than the modern, super convenient, lightweight tents that we normally talk about on this channel, but I think it's a worthwhile departure because this is something that really has a beautiful aesthetic. It's really romantic, makes you want to go camping more often, things like that. So be sure you check this out for yourself. If you are looking for something that is a little more of a long-term solution and definitely a larger solution than most other tents can be because of the setup. So as always, my name is Joel. This is the Traveler Toolkit, and I'll see you in the next video.